August 7, 1944, northern France just after dawn. Dust hangs in the air like smoke that refuses to settle. Somewhere beyond the hedgerows, engines growl, not loud yet, not close, but constant. A low mechanical thunder that never quite stops. German soldiers crouched in shallow foxholes glance at one another, uneasy. The sound has been following them for days. Inside a commandeered farmhouse near Argenton, a German signals officer presses his headset tighter against his ears. The radio crackles. Another report. Another American advance. Too fast. He scribbles coordinates on a grease-stained map, already crowded with arrows pointing the wrong direction. Because the Americans are not behaving the way they're supposed to. And at the center of it all, according to German intelligence, is one man they refuse to take seriously. General George S. Patton. To the Germans, he is not a strategist, not a thinker, not a Rommel. He is something else entirely. A performer. Weeks earlier, German intelligence summaries described him with open contempt. Der laut General, the loud general, the man with pearl-handled pistols and theatrical speeches, a general who shouts, a general who poses. A general who, they believe, mistakes noise for brilliance. In German headquarters, officers smirk when his name appears. They say Americans need men like Patton, men who talk big so soldiers feel brave. They say real wars are not won with speeches. They are won with discipline, with patience, with order. And right now, order is exactly what the German army is trying to restore in Normandy. Since the Allied landings 2 months earlier, the front has been chaos. Bombed roads, cratered railways, destroyed fuel depots, entire divisions ground down slowly in the hedgerows by American infantry and artillery. But now, finally, the German High Command believes the Americans have overextended. They see opportunity. Patton's Third Army has broken out from the Normandy hedgerows and is racing east. To the Germans, it looks reckless. Supply lines stretched thin, flanks exposed, armored columns pushing too far too fast. This is where he will make his mistake, one German staff officer says confidently. They assume Patton will do what loud men always do. Overreach. So the German plan forms quickly. Pull back, regroup, hold the escape corridor near Falaise, let the Americans exhaust themselves, then counterattack, clean, methodical, precise. The trap, they believe, will close on Patton. What they do not realize, not yet, is that Patton is not chasing glory. He is chasing time. At Third Army headquarters, Patton stands over a massive field map spread across folding tables. Dust coats his boots. Sweat darkens his collar. He hasn't slept more than a few hours a night since the breakout began. Officers wait silently as Patton studies the German positions. He doesn't speak at first. Then he jabs the map with a writing crop. "They're running," he says. A staff colonel hesitates. "Sir, intelligence believes the Germans are reorganizing for a defensive stand near Falaise." Patton snorts. "They're not reorganizing," he says. "They're bleeding." He straightens. And bleeding men don't stop to build neat little lines. Patton understands something his enemies do not. The German army is not retreating, it is unraveling. Fuel shortages, broken communications, columns of vehicles jammed nose to tail along narrow French roads, horses pulling artillery because trucks have no gasoline, units intermingled, officers unable to find their own battalions. To Patton, this is not a battlefield. It is a collapsing dam. And collapse only lasts for a moment. So he pushes. Harder. Faster. While German doctrine says consolidate, Patton says advance. While others pause to secure flanks, Patton orders movement through the night. While Allied commanders debate maps, Patton tells his tankers to follow dust clouds and engine noise. Move. Move again. Then move faster. His armored columns do not stop at sunset. They drive until headlights are forbidden, then keep going anyway. American tank crews sleep sitting up. Drivers guide Shermans by moonlight and memory. Fuel trucks bounce over shell holes with engines screaming, knowing if they stop, the entire advance dies behind them. To Patton, hesitation is deadlier than enemy fire. German reconnaissance planes report this movement, streams of armor flowing south and east far, beyond what planners predicted. At German headquarters, officers shake their heads. It's bluster, one says. Showmanship, another adds. Patton is showing off. They believe this speed cannot last. They believe the Americans will soon stall. They are wrong. By August 12th, Patton's forces have already advanced distances German planners thought impossible in a single week. Entire towns fall without major fighting, German rear units fleeing before Americans even arrive. But still, German commanders remain focused on one idea. If they can hold open the Falaise corridor, a narrow escape route between Allied armies, they can pull their forces out intact. The corridor becomes everything. Through it must pass entire German armies. Tanks, artillery, infantry, wounded, command staffs. If it stays open, Germany can live to fight another day in France. If it closes. But Patton is not attacking the corridor head-on. He is circling it, like a hunter running wide through tall grass. German radio operators begin to notice something unsettling. American transmissions are appearing behind German units. Then beside them. Then ahead of them. Confusion spreads. Orders contradict one another. Units receive commands from officers who no longer know where their own headquarters are located. Still, German intelligence insists calm. This is temporary disorganization, they report. The Americans lack the discipline to coordinate an encirclement. They say Patton is too impulsive, too aggressive, too loud. They believe that noise equals chaos. What they fail to understand is this. Patton's aggression is not disorder. It is momentum. And momentum, once it builds, does not ask permission. By mid-August, German convoys begin to pile up near Falaise, vehicles packed bumper to bumper, trapped on narrow roads. Allied aircraft circle overhead like birds of prey. American artillery creeps closer every hour. Inside German command vehicles, officers listen to radios that no longer bring reassurance, only fragments. Broken sentences. Shouting. Panic. Somewhere to the south, Patton's armored spearheads are turning north. And for the first time, German commanders stop laughing when his name is spoken. Because the loud general is no longer shouting. He is closing. And the space to escape is shrinking by the hour. The roads near Chambois are no longer roads. They are scars. August 17, 1944, late afternoon. Sunlight reflects off twisted metal half-tracks burned black, wagons splintered, artillery pieces abandoned where horses collapsed from exhaustion. The air smells of oil, cordite, and something far worse. Flies gather in thick, buzzing clouds. German soldiers move through the wreckage in silence. No formation. No ranks. Only men. Some without helmets, some without rifles, some without officers at all. Every direction looks the same. Smoke to the east, smoke to the west. American fighter bombers above, circling patiently, waiting for movement. Inside a German command truck stalled near the Dives River, a major grips a radio handset with shaking fingers. "Where is the corridor?" he demands. The reply crackles back, barely intelligible. "There is no corridor." For days, German high command believed escape was still possible. Maps showed a narrow opening between Falaise and Argenton, a few kilometers wide. Tight, yes, but manageable. What the maps do not show is speed. Patton's speed. While German units fought the Canadians and British pressing south, they assumed the Americans to the south were still reorganizing, still resupplying, still too exhausted to coordinate a full encirclement. But Patton had never stopped moving. His XV Corps, under Major General Wade H. Hayslip, surged north with armor and mechanized infantry, bypassing resistance instead of destroying it. The objective was not victory by annihilation. It was closure. American Sherman tanks roll past stunned French villagers, their tracks clanking, radios barking constant updates. Dust coats everything: faces, uniforms, weapons. The men look hollow-eyed but focused. They know something is happening. They can feel it. At the front of one column, a young lieutenant points ahead. "Sir," he says, "there are Germans everywhere." The captain beside him doesn't slow. "Then we're in the right place." German columns attempt to flee through the narrowing gap. Trucks packed with wounded try to pass panzers. Horse-drawn artillery blocks fuel tankers. Orders conflict. Tempers snap. Then the Jabos arrive. American and British fighter bombers dive again and again, rockets screaming, cannons tearing into immobilized vehicles. Every explosion blocks the road further. Every burning truck becomes another wall. From above, pilots later describe it as a shooting gallery. From the ground, it is hell. German officers scream for movement that cannot happen. Drivers abandon vehicles. Soldiers scatter into fields, only to be cut down by machine gun fire from Allied units already in position. And through it all, German radios begin calling the same names. Patton. American armor. Closing from the south. The tone changes. The mockery is gone. In German command posts, voices sharpen with urgency. Messages once filled with confidence now plead for clarity. Where are the Americans? Who is holding Trun? Who controls Chambois? No one knows. Because the battlefield is no longer linear. It is three-dimensional, collapsing inward. At 3rd Army headquarters, Patton listens as reports flood in. Units advancing faster than expected, resistance lighter than feared, entire German formations dissolving on contact. Patton does not celebrate. He leans forward. "How wide is the gap?" he asks. "A few miles, sir." Patton's jaw tightens. Then it's still too wide. He orders armor forward again. No pause. No regroup. No waiting for perfect alignment with Allied forces from the north. To Patton, perfection is the enemy. Speed is everything. On August 18th, American forces link with Polish armored units pushing south from the Canadian First Army. The connection is imperfect, sporadic firefights still rage, but the message is unmistakable. The ring is closing. Inside the pocket, German commanders finally understand what has happened. This was never about Patton's personality, never about his speeches, never about the image they mocked. This was about tempo. Patton moved faster than their decisions, faster than their paperwork, faster than their doctrine. German field reports grow frantic. A corps commander radios that his men are trapped without fuel. Another reports ammunition expended. A third simply sends, "Situation catastrophic." Some messages never finish transmitting. The Americans are too close. By nightfall, the pocket shrinks to a brutal maze of wreckage and desperation. German soldiers attempt breakouts in small groups, charging through darkness and gunfire. Few succeed. Those who do emerge speak later of a constant roar, engines, explosions, shouting, and the sense that the enemy was everywhere at once. Patton's aggressiveness, once dismissed as recklessness, has become suffocation. The corridor closes not with ceremony, but with exhaustion. A final road cut. A final bridge seized. A final hill taken at bayonet point. And suddenly, tens of thousands of German soldiers realize they are no longer retreating. They are trapped. Across the battlefield, American soldiers stare in disbelief at the scale of it. Prisoners surrender in waves, dirty, stunned, hollow-eyed. Entire units lay down weapons without being fired upon. The German army in Normandy is finished. Not defeated in a single dramatic clash, but crushed by momentum. That night, as fires burn across the pocket, German commanders send their last coherent messages west. Not reports, not plans, warnings. They speak of an American general who never stopped, who attacked when others paused, who turned speed into a weapon, and who proved, far too late, that noise can hide deadly precision. But even as the pocket collapses, one final realization begins to dawn, not on the Germans, but on the Allies themselves. Because what Patton has just done will change how modern armies think about war forever. And not everyone is comfortable with that. August 19, 1944. Night settles over Normandy like a heavy blanket. Fires still burn inside the pocket, thousands of them, flickering across the countryside like dying stars. The crackle of ammunition cooking off echoes through the darkness. Somewhere, a wounded horse screams until it finally falls silent. American soldiers move cautiously among the wreckage. They have never seen anything like this. German tanks sit abandoned with engines still warm. Staff cars filled with maps and documents stand riddled with bullets. Entire artillery batteries lie silent, their crews gone, captured, dead, or simply vanished into the hedgerows. For the men on the ground, the victory feels unreal. For the men in command, it feels unsettling. At Allied headquarters, reports pile up faster than they can be processed. Tens of thousands of prisoners, hundreds of destroyed vehicles, entire German divisions erased from the order of battle. The numbers are staggering, and all of it happened faster than anyone predicted. Too fast. Senior Allied officers study maps showing Patton's advance arrows, long, aggressive sweeps that defy conventional doctrine. Some stare in admiration, others in concern, because Patton has not merely defeated the enemy. He has outrun the plan. General Omar Bradley reads the situation reports late into the night. He understands what has been accomplished, the destruction of Germany's Western Army, but he also sees something dangerous. Control is slipping. Front lines are no longer neat. Command boundaries blur. Units cross sectors. Communications strain under the speed of movement. Victory has momentum now. And momentum does not ask permission. Bradley quietly wonders whether Patton's style, so effective in chaos, might become risky once Germany itself lies ahead. But those thoughts come later. For now, the battlefield tells its own story. German prisoners sit in massive groups under guard, staring at the ground. Many still do not understand how this happened. They were told the Americans were disorganized, undisciplined, loud but clumsy. Instead, they were enveloped. One captured German captain speaks to an American interrogator through a translator. "We thought he would stop," the captain says. "All armies stop." The interrogator asks, "Who?" The captain doesn't hesitate. "Patton." Word of the encirclement spreads rapidly through Allied lines. Soldiers repeat it with disbelief. Some cheer. Some simply shake their heads. They had chased the enemy for weeks. Now there was nowhere left to run. In London, Winston Churchill receives early summaries of the collapse. He reads them twice, then a third time. Entire German armies destroyed in France. The path to Paris open. The war in the West suddenly shorter. Churchill understands what this means politically, strategically, historically. But he also understands something else. This victory does not belong to committees. It belongs to a man who believed hesitation was fatal. Across the Atlantic, American newspapers will soon celebrate Patton as a hero. But inside Allied command circles, reactions are more complicated. Some praise his brilliance. Others fear his unpredictability. Because Patton has demonstrated something terrifyingly effective. That war, when driven relentlessly, can move faster than the people trying to control it. Back at 3rd Army headquarters, Patton stands alone for a moment. Outside, engines idle, staff officers hurry past. The advance eastward is already being planned. Patton does not dwell on the victory. He looks at the map again. Germany lies ahead. And he knows with a certainty that chills even him that the enemy is not finished. Not yet. But something fundamental has changed. The German army that once dominated Europe has been broken in open ground. Its myth shattered. Its confidence burned away along the roads of Falaise. German survivors carry the memory eastward, the memory of American armor that never stopped, never waited, never gave them time to think. Long after the guns fall silent in Normandy, that fear will remain. Fear of speed. Fear of pressure. Fear of a general they once mocked. Because when they laughed at the loud general, they were laughing at the sound of their own defeat approaching. And as Patton's columns turn east toward the German border, one question hangs silently over the Allied armies. If this is how Patton fights when unleashed, what happens when he reaches Germany itself? The engines begin to move again. The dust rises, and the war rolls forward faster than anyone imagined.